Most women over 40 are not short on experience. They're short on translation because you can have 20 years of leadership, caregiving, teaching, organizing, problem solving, training, planning, managing, mentoring, creating, and surviving real life, and still sit down at your kitchen table and say, I know I have value, but I don't know what to sell. That is the problem. Not your age, not your resume, not your tech skills, not the algorithm. The problem is that nobody taught you how to turn your lived experience into a clear offer that people can understand, trust, and buy. So, in this video, I'm going to show you how to look at your life experience and find the business hiding inside it. And stay with me until the end because I created a resource called Turn Your Experience into Income that explains this process even more. It's not theory, it's not hype. It's a practical way to look at what you already know and start turning it into something marketable. So let's get into it. Hey friend, my name is Quinn and I'm the founder of Sister Lady Girl, where I help women over 40 turn experience into income, visibility, and ownership without starting from scratch. And today we're talking about something that I believe every midlife woman needs to understand. Your experience is not just your past. It may be your next income stream, but only if you know how to package it. Because here's where a lot of women get stuck. They think, I've done a lot, but none of it feels like a business. Or I have too many skills, so I don't know which one to choose. Or I don't want to become a coach, influencer, or online personality. And I want to be very clear here. What you need is a way to extract what you know, position it clearly, and turn it into a simple offer. That's the shift. You are not reinventing yourself, you are translating yourself, and that changes everything. So let's start here. Your experience is raw material. That means it has value, but it may not be ready to sell yet. Think about all the things that you've done over the years. You've solved problems, you've managed people, you've organized chaos, you've taught yourself things, you've helped friends, family members, coworkers, clients, church members, students, parents, employees, or teams get through something. You've made decisions under pressure. You've learned what works and what does not. That pattern recognition is valuable, but the market does not pay for your whole life story. The market pays for a specific result. That is why so many smart women struggle to monetize their experience. They're trying to sell everything they know, everything they've been through, every certification, every job, every skill, every story. But buyers need something much simpler. They need to know, who do you help? What problem do you solve? What result can you get them? That's it. And I know that sounds basic, but basic is where the money usually starts because confused people don't buy. Impressed people, they don't always buy. Inspired people, they don't always buy. But clear people are much more likely to purchase. So, the first move is not to ask, what business should I start? The first move is to ask, what problem have I already solved that someone else is still struggling with? That question is the beginning of your offer. So here's the first thing I want you to do. Look for your receipts. And when I say receipts, I don't mean degrees only. I don't mean certificates only. I don't mean job titles only. Receipts are proof that you've created value somewhere. They may sound like, everybody always asks me to help with this, or I'm the person people call when this gets messy, or I've trained other people how to do this. It may sound like, I helped my team fix this problem, or I figured this out for myself and now other women ask me how I did it, or I've been through this transition and I can now see the steps clearly. Those are receipts. So let me give you a few examples. Maybe you spent 20 years in HR and people always come to you for resume help, interview prep, or career transitions. There may be an offer in that. Maybe you're the woman everybody calls when they need to plan an event, organize a family reunion, coordinate a fundraiser, or run a community program. There may be an offer in that. Maybe you managed a household, cared for aging parents, raised children, worked full time, and built systems to keep everybody alive, fed, scheduled, and functioning. There may be an offer in that. Maybe you left a job, survived a layoff, rebuilt your confidence, and figured out how to talk about your value again. There may be an offer in that. Maybe you're the person in your circle who can explain complicated things simply. There may be an offer in that. The business is not always hiding in what you think is impressive. Sometimes it's hiding in what comes naturally to you. And that's why you miss it, because what feels obvious to you may be extremely valuable to someone else. Now, this part is important. Most people try to sell the skill, but people buy the shift. Let me explain. If you say, I offer administrative support, that is a skill. But if you say, I help overwhelmed solo business owners organize their inbox, calendar, and client follow up system so they stop losing opportunities, this is a shift. If you say, I do event planning, that is a skill. But if you say, I help first time event hosts plan profitable workshops without overspending, overthinking, or waiting until the last minute, that is a shift. If you say, I help with career coaching, that is a skill. But if you say, I help women over 45 turn their corporate experience into a clear consulting offer so they can create income outside of one employer, that is a shift. This is where the money starts to show up, not because you suddenly became more qualified. You were already qualified. The difference is that now your value is easier to understand. And when your value is easier to understand, it's easier to trust. And when it's easier to trust, it's easier to buy. So here's the formula I want you to write down. I help a specific person solve a specific problem so they can get a specific result. That is your first offer sentence, not your forever offer, not your final brand statement, just your first clean sentence. And for a lot of women, that one sentence changes everything because now you're no longer saying, I do a little bit of everything. You're saying, here's the problem I solve. And that is what makes people lean in. Now, let's talk about where your offer might come from. I want you to look for repetition. What have you done more than once? What have people asked you about more than once? What problem have you solved in different settings? What advice do you keep repeating? Or what mistake do you keep watching people make? That repetition is a clue because a business is often built around a repeated problem with a repeatable solution. Not always a fancy solution, not always a complicated one, a repeatable one. So here are three places to look. First, look at your professional experience. What did you get paid to do? What outcomes did you create? What problems did you solve at work that people outside the workplace also have? Second, look at your lived experience. What have you navigated? What did you have to learn the hard way? What transition did you survive that someone else is just entering? Third, look at your relational experience. What do people come to you for? What do they trust you with? Where do they say, you always know how to explain this? You always know how to organize this. You always know how to calm people down. You always know how to make a plan. You always know how to find the next step. Those are market clues. Not every clue becomes a business, of course, but some of them can become an offer. And your job is to test the strongest one. Not think about it for 6 more months. Test it. This is where midlife women can get stuck because once you realize your experience has value, your brain may try to turn it into a huge business overnight. You start thinking, I need a website, I need a logo, I need a course, I need a brand shoot, I need a podcast, I need a full curriculum, I need a funnel. No, not at first. First, you need the smallest sellable version. The smallest sellable version is the simplest way to help someone get one useful result. That could be a 60-minute strategy session, a $27 guide, a $47 workshop, a $97 audit, a $150 template bundle, a $300 private session, a $500 mini package. The price depends on the result, the audience, and the level of access, but the principle is the same. Start small enough to sell, start clear enough to explain, start simple enough to deliver. because your first offer's job is not to prove that you can build an empire. Its job is to prove that somebody wants the result. That's it. And once you know somebody wants the result, you can improve it. You can rename it. You can raise the price. You can turn it into a workshop. You can turn it into a course. You can turn it into a consulting package. You can build from there. But please do not build a whole business around an untested idea. Test the offer first. So, let me give you a simple filter that you can use today. I call it the experience to income filter. Take one skill, one story, or one area of experience and run it through these 5 questions. The first question is, what did I learn, solve, or survive? This helps you identify the raw material. Question 2, who is one specific person that needs this? Not everyone, one person. A midlife woman leaving corporate, a first time event host, a caregiver who needs systems, a new consultant who can't explain her offer, a woman who wants to earn from what she already knows. Question 3, what problem are they actively trying to solve? Not a vague problem like confidence. Make it specific. I don't know what to sell, or I don't know how to explain my value. I don't know how to create my first digital product. I don't know how to turn my event idea into revenue. I don't know how to use AI without sounding generic. Question 4, what result can I help them get faster, easier, or with more confidence? This is where your offer starts to take shape. Question 5, what is the simplest format I can deliver this in? Is it a guide, a checklist, a workshop, a call, a template, a small group session, a short training video? Do not overcomplicate this. The first version should be something you can explain in one sentence and deliver without needing a full team. This is how you move from idea to income. Not by doing everything, by choosing one useful result and packaging it clearly. Let's say you are a woman who spent years working in operations. You were the person who kept projects moving, made sure deadlines were met, handled communication, and cleaned up messy systems. You may think that was just my job, but let's translate it. Raw experience. I managed operations and kept projects organized. The problem someone else has. Small business owners are overwhelmed because their client work, inbox, deadlines, and follow ups are scattered. The result, they may want a simple system to keep track of clients, tasks, and next steps. The offer, I help solo business owners clean up their client workflow in 1 week so they stop missing deadlines, losing details, and feeling behind. That could become a $97 workflow audit, a $297 setup session, a $47 Notion or Google Sheets template, a $500 client operations cleanup package. Same experience, different packaging. Here's another example. Let's say you are a woman everyone comes to for encouragement, clarity, and life transitions. You've helped friends navigate divorce, caregiving, empty nesting, job loss, and confidence issues. You may think, but I'm not certified. Now, you need to be ethical here. You should not present yourself as a therapist, a financial advisor, or legal expert if you are not one. But there may still be a practical offer in your experience. Maybe your offer is not therapy. Maybe it's a guided reflection workshop for women in transition. Maybe it's a journaling guide. Maybe it's a peer support circle. Maybe it's a what's next clarity call. The key is to be honest about what you're offering. Don't inflate it, clarify it. People don't always need you to be everything. Sometimes they need you to help them take the next step, and that is enough to start. This matters because a lot of women in midlife are waking up to the same realization. One paycheck is not always security. A job title is not always ownership. A resume does not always translate into options. And after years of doing what you were supposed to do, you may be asking, what belongs to me? That is the deeper question. Not just how do I make extra money, but what can I build from what I already carry? What knowledge have I been sitting on? What do I know that could help someone else? What could create options for me in this season? That is why this work matters, because this is not about chasing online money. This is about ownership. It's about having something that belongs to you, a message that belongs to you, an offer that belongs to you, a body of work that belongs to you, a way to earn that is not fully dependent on one employer, one platform, one room, or one person giving you permission. That is the real shift. And it starts by taking your experience seriously, not as nostalgia, not as a resume, as an asset. Before I tell you how to get the resource, let me give you 3 mistakes to avoid. Mistake number 1, trying to monetize everything at once. Do not take your whole life and turn it into a giant offer. Pick one problem, one person, one result. Mistake number 2, using vague language. Words like transformation, empowerment, purpose, breakthrough, and confidence can be meaningful, but they're not always specific enough to sell. Tell people what actually changes. Will they leave with an offer sentence, a pricing plan, a content plan, a digital product idea, a cleaned up system, a finished outline, a list of income ideas? Specific sells. Mistake number 3, waiting until you feel ready. Readiness is not the requirement, clarity and action are. You can test a small offer before you feel confident. In fact, testing the offer is often what builds the confidence, because once someone says, I need that, your belief starts to catch on. So here's what I want you to do next. Take out a notebook or open the Notes app on your phone and write down 3 things. Number 1, what do people already come to me for? Number 2, what problem have I solved more than once? Number 3, what result could I help someone get in one session, one guide, one workshop, or one simple offer? That is where I want you to start. Not with a logo, not with a website, not with a 12-month content plan. Start with the experience. Find the problem, name the result, package the offer, then put it in front of real people. If you want help walking through the process, I created Turn Your Experience into Income for you. It's designed to help you look at what you already know, identify the value inside it, and start shaping it into an offer. You can grab it using the link in the description, and when you go through it, don't just read it, use it. Take it in, circle things, let it challenge you, let it show you what you've been overlooking. Because I promise you this, there is something in your experience that can help someone else. The question is not whether you have value. The question is whether you can translate that value into a clear offer. That's the work, and that's what we do here. So if this video helped you, subscribe to Encore Earners, because this channel is for women over 40 who are ready to turn what they know into income, confidence, and ownership. And send this video to another woman who keeps saying, I know I'm good at something, but I don't know what to do with it, because she may not need another degree. She may not need another certification. She may not need to start over. She may just need to see the business already hiding inside of her life. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.